What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another lucky dip. And this one is from Philip. Big shout out to Philip for sharing a whole source of material, as well as being the originator of this playlist. And yes, the track this time is by a group called The Motors. Haven't heard of them. Sounds like a 60s singing group. Sounds like a group of singers you would find on the Motown label back in the day. I have no idea the era of the tune, which is the case for all of these, but the track is Dancing the Night Away, which again sounds like it could be a classic mid 20th century type of song, but it also sounds like something that could come from later when discos and dance clubs of the 80s and 90s were in full swing. So if I had to guess, just based on the aesthetic of the name of the group and the title of the track, I would say pre-2000, but I guess we'll find out, or at least I'll have more of an educated hypothesis, or indeed guess, when we get to the end of the track. But let's listen. This is The Motors, and the track is Dancing the Night Away. drumming is very notable on the track. Well, that's an awesome song. I have several comments. My first, as I try to do with a lot of these Lucky Dips, is to place it. At first I was thinking, okay, the intro was a bit, what's the right word? Ambiguous in that regard. And then when it really started to roll in with the rock and roll type of feelings, I thought, okay, it has a bit of a vintage sound, but I'm thinking maybe it's like 80s, and I don't really know the genre of Mersey beat, but it felt kind of like a couple tracks I've heard described with that label. But ultimately, I'm not sure if there were, any clear, distinct accents that would give me that hint. Either way, it felt like maybe this could be 80s, but maybe it could be hearkening back to an earlier genre. I wouldn't estimate it to be any earlier than that. Nevertheless, I suppose it could be more recent, and again, just trying to recapture an older sound. But it definitely had a 20th century sound to it, and for lack of a better guess, I'll say maybe we're talking 80s. Nevertheless, I was curious about the lyrics too, because, he's talking about he's on the road, and there's this woman who, what was it, she wants him to kiss her and not to miss her, but taking his eyes off the road, but then he turns his back to her, which sounds a little ominous. And then talking about being booked in a hotel and part of a traveling music group. And so then I'm thinking maybe it's Dancing the Night Away is they're part of a band that's touring in an old school, you get in a van and you go around to a bunch of different cities. It's not like a modern jet-setting RIP, VIP sort of context, but instead, again, a more humble, older style of touring, and you party with the local crowd each night. Maybe you meet a special someone, maybe you share an experience with them, but then you're back on the road, you're off, you have to go, and maybe there's a bit of, tension there, or a bit of that was fun, but sorry, I gotta go, I'm turning my back on you and getting back on the road. But I feel like those lines could all be more metaphorical. So I don't really know what's happening, but it does sound like there's traveling involved, they're playing in a group, and they're dancing probably not just one night away, but many nights away. This is a lifestyle, this is a ongoing process and experience that they're having. So, yeah, a fun tune certainly. As I said during the track, the drums really standing out, not only the rolls and the fills, but sort of the tempo shifts and the intensifications as it would build toward the end of some of the measures. I like that bass really grooving away, and a couple points it was doing these like little bass flourishes. The guitar having a kind of old style, almost like rockabilly kind of sound, but again, maybe not like 50s or 60s rockabilly, but rockabilly of, you know, later decades that were, again, playing off of or paying homage to earlier styles. So a fun tune, a grooving tune, a nice like rock and roll kind of tune, but I'm still a bit ambiguous, you know, in terms of where to place it temporally, and ultimately I'm not sure if it's, you know, like a UK group or a US group. Again, I didn't hear any, like, to my ears, notable accent, which is, you know, if people speak like they do where you come from, you don't tend to think of it as an accent. I guess in some places, because there's so many different, you know, socio-ethnic groups in a like small geographical area, that even then people would talk of accents. But generally here in the US, we don't talk about an American accent. You know, we might talk about like a southern accent, a northeastern accent. I guess some people might say Californians talk in a certain way, though to me it sounds normal. It doesn't sound like an accent. So I didn't detect a clearly UK accent, whether we're talking Liverpool or otherwise. So I guess I'll guess that it's an American group. Nevertheless, I did enjoy it very much, and I like those old-timey rock and roll kind of sounds. So once again, big shout out to Phil for sharing, and there's many more tracks in the folder. We'll continue to go through these, so appreciate the patience and the interest in the Lucky Dip journey, which, you know, it's different than the other playlists, because in many cases it's like, it's sort of a one-off. You know, you have this experience, and then I go and I check out something else next time, and so on. There's been a couple over the course of the playlist that have spun off into their own deep dives, but yeah, I do enjoy it because it feels less like I have to worry about, okay, what part of the album am I up to, and did I make sure I didn't skip over any of the EPs between the last album, and so on. It's just, you know, see something that strikes my fancy with its name, pick it, and listen to it. So, as always, I appreciate Phil for sharing and all the other music that he's provided as well. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Peace.